don't know if it's going to. I don't think it's going to fall this week because the Eagles' pass defense is too good. So I think, but that'll be close. I mean, I think sacks in one game. 4 guys have done it 3 times, and 2 number 1 seeds in the Super Bowl. The last time it was done was Philadelphia against New England. That was 5 years ago. However, it's not uncommon. 5 times in the last 10 years, the 2 number 1 seeds have met in a Super Bowl. How about we get this guy on right now, the host of the NFL Matchup Show, and hailing from senior correspondent for ESPN. That would be the great Sal Pal, joining me from Phoenix. Sal, how you doing?
Pat, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, Sal. We can hear you.
Good.
All right.
Yeah, we just got through with Jalen Hurts' press conference.
All right. Well, I knew you weren't. I knew you weren't going to let Jalen Hurts preempt me. I mean, I know the kind of guy you are.
We are here in the Eagles Hotel. I'll show you. There's a press conference podium right behind me. I think you can see it.
Yep, we can see it. Yeah.
All right, fire away, Pat.
All right.
We're day 5 here at the Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles, and you got me live on your show. So let's go, right, baby. What do you got?
Let me start with this here. I'm always curious, and I did speak about this with Coach Vermeil. But my question to you is, how do you assess the demeanor? You've done God knows how many Super Bowls. Is there a difference in demeanor between the coaches and players on each team, or is everybody of the same? You get the same vibe from both teams.
Pat, it would be 3-0 Super Bowls, 30.
Wow.
I would say of all the quarterbacks that have been up here talking to us, Jalen Hurts is just about the most poised that I have ever seen. He is really tremendous. Yeah. And, on the practice field, what I'm hearing is he's really taking charge. And then talking to Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, one-on-one, Pat, it was pretty evident to me that they are just truly impressed with how dialed in this guy is. Steichen was telling me that as he was getting off the plane here in Arizona, he was getting texts from Jalen. What happens when this play comes up and this defense from the Chiefs? How do I get out of this bad play and into this good situation? What's my check here? What's my call here? Yeah. And that kind of exchange is going on all the time between Shane Steichen and Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts. And an interesting part of it was in the end of my conversation with Shane Steichen, I asked him very specifically whether or not Jalen Hurts would give Steichen any restriction in terms of what he could call.
Right.
And he looked me in the eye, Pat, and he said, "No, we're in this game to win it. We're going to let it all hang out." All right. And I got the same impression from Jalen Hurts today. It's interesting. Brian Johnson, his mindset is actually last week they're at the NovaCare facility. He and Jalen sat down, Pat, and they talked about how this is your new job title. Like he's had a number of job titles this offseason. Right. Quarterback rehabbing, right, quarterback in training camp, quarterback going out to California and fixing his game, quarterback of a team that has been on a record-setting pace. Now he's the quarterback of the Super Bowl, NFC champion, right, and Super Bowl Philadelphia Eagles. So he said he's able to compartmentalize and on and off the field, and it's truly remarkable for a guy who's 24 years old.
That is. It really is. Now, speaking about the head coach, you mentioned Sean Steichen and how calm his demeanor is. You feel the same way about the Eagles head coach. And I only mention it because this is Coach Reid's 4th Super Bowl and 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years. He has been there. This is Nick Sirianni's first. Now, I'm surprised, Sal. First-time head coaches in a Super Bowl are 28-31. They're almost 500. Do you sense anything from Nick Sirianni? Is the moment getting close to overpowering him?
I got a sense early in the week where he kept repeating the mantra, "We're going to stick to our process, stick to our process, stick to our process." That was a guy who was trying to deflect whatever pressure he was feeling and move it towards, put it in a bucket, right. A routine bucket, right? And you've seen that. We all see that kind of thing. Right. Today in his press conference, this is Thursday. It's his last availability. I thought he was pretty smooth, and I thought he was relaxed. I really did. Apparently, they had a very good practice. We'll get the practice report here shortly. But apparently they had a very good practice at the Cardinals facility today. Yesterday was a very energetic walkthrough, I was told. Interestingly, Sirianni made a little news here today. He said that initially on Saturday night, he was going to speak to the team, but he scrapped that plan and said instead he's going to have an open mic night in which players can talk to the team, anybody who wants to talk to the team. I hope that the NFL Films cameras are in there for that one, Pat.
That's right. That's a clever move by him. I think that's a clever move by him there.
Yeah, he said he learned it at Mount Union when he was with the Purple Raiders. When they went to the Stag Bowl the night before, his coach opened it up to the players. I thought that was brilliant.
No. Talking with Sal Paolantonio here, the host of the NFL Matchup Show. I don't know when you're going to squeeze that in. I guess getting ready. That should be a great show coming up this weekend, I guess.
We are taping on Saturday, and we will be we will be live on taping on Sunday morning. Then we'll be on the show will be on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on ESPN2.
Excellent. So I've been espousing the last few minutes before you came on that to me, and I asked this of the coach for me too, and he just said the Eagles have to stick to what brought them, which is running the ball. But I think there's two guys on the Chiefs the Eagles need to just not eliminate or completely negate, just contain. And that is because you're not going to contain Mahomes. It's 87 and 95. How do you think the Eagles try and do anything different to at least neutralize those two guys?
Well, Pat, let's take 87 first, because that's the hard one. Right. So there's only one player with more postseason receptions and postseason receiving yards. That is Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice is 1. Travis Kelce is 2.
How about that?
Okay. Yeah. And when Kelce was asked why he's always open, his answer was 2 words, Andy Reid.
Andy Reid, yeah.
Well, that suggests to me that Reid is doing a whole lot of diabolical planning and design to get Kelce open. I don't agree with that. I watch it on film. I think it's more nuanced than that, where Kelce finds seams and holes instinctively with just his vision and feel, and he works so well together with Holmes. So if I have that opinion, my answer is simple. I don't know how you defend against that, because that's intuitive at the core, and I don't know how you defend against it. As for Jones, he's pure power and speed. He's power and speed. And in my opinion, it depends on where he lines up. If he's going to be on the right side, it's going to be Lane Johnson's responsibility to really seal this guy off and make sure they know where he is. Right. The great thing about this offensive line is that Jason Kelce makes the protection calls.
Right.
So they're going to be looking for 95.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking for him, and whatever they got to do to block him. You don't want him to wreck the game like he did against the Bengals.
Exactly. That's exactly the point I'm making. Is I think Philadelphia has a superior talent, Sal, and I think if they just don't allow somebody to take the game over on either side of the ball, I think that's a big advantage for Philadelphia, because number 15, you're not going to contain him. You're not going to contain him, right? I mean, he's just going to do what he's going to do, and I think the Eagles just need to neutralize everybody else.
Well, that's partially true, Pat. By the way, have you ever had the head coach podium in your This Week in Pro Football before? On the Super Bowl? Pat,
Pat, I wish you could stand behind it. I want to stand behind it, Sal.
Pat, what I bring to your show is invaluable, Pat. I got the head coach's podium right here on JAKIB Media on This Week in Pro Football. You don't get any better than that.
No, you sure don't. You sure don't.
Todd Bowles, when they played in the COVID Bowl in Tampa, Todd Bowles did a great job against Patrick Mahomes, and he did it by rushing 4 or 5, blitzing very rarely, and playing cover and forcing Patrick Mahomes to hold on to the ball. Now, they covered Kelce in that game.
Right. And I think, too, if the Eagles, the defensive ends, if they don't let him get out of the pocket. He's not going to run for a lot of yards, but, boy, can he improvise and make all of a sudden a 30-yard pass play out of nothing. That's what I think Philadelphia needs to avoid when it comes to him. Sal, a frequent media refrain I'm seeing online, at least, is that the Eagles really haven't played anybody. And, of course, if you look and what I think they're alluding to is, say, for instance, the Eagles finished up the regular season and so far in the playoffs with Andy Dalton, Daniel Jones and Brock Purdy. Now, all of a sudden, they get the best quarterback in the league, I think, right now. Is there anything notable about this sentiment that the Eagles, quote, haven't played anybody, or is that just 49er type whining?
Yeah, I think it's more the latter than the former, Pat. This is a complete team. You know, you can only beat who's on the schedule. We've talked about that. I think the mindset here in Arizona that I have felt the last 3 days with this team is simple. We are who we are. If people don't like us, we don't care. You know, we know what we can do. We are a run-first team that can run the ball. Patrick Mahomes' 3 playoff losses have all come when he lost the time of possession battle. You must play keep away from Patrick Mahomes. That was a question that I asked Nick Sirianni, about 25 minutes ago, more like a half an hour ago. Right. So I will run that tonight on SportsCenter, and I'll tell you, Pat, you know, he talked about the fine line, the balancing act. You play keep away from Patrick Mahomes, but you need to score points. Right. And the way you do that is be good on third down. Because if you're not good on third down, what happens? You got to punt, then you give the ball back to 15. No good. You got to be good on third down, and you got to score points if you play keep away.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that's a formula. No doubt about it. I love your comment, the stat you gave me about time of possession. I think that's how the Eagles win the game. I really do. They're number 5 rush team. Number 5 rush against Kansas City's number 20 rush defense. The passing game, I hope, gets neutralized. Kansas City's number 1 offense. Eagles are number 1 defense. I hope they can at least contain it that way. All right, listen, this is your 30th Super Bowl. Come on, you got to have some memorable memories about that. Probably most notably, Sal, I would say, is probably 5 years ago. But how do you rank it? I mean, is there any other Super Bowl besides the Eagles winning in Minnesota that stands out in your career as being a memorable Super Bowl?
Well, let's be clear about something, Pat. The Eagles winning Super Bowl 52 is definitely the most memorable Super Bowl because I covered the team for 25 straight years. Everybody who lives around me, my family and friends, they're all Eagles fans. And the level of angst and pain that has built up over the years was big. And for Doug Peters, and the way the Eagles won the game was also spectacular and dramatic. Right. You know, it'll never be duplicated. Right. So that's number 1. I think, you know, others that I was personally involved in, you know, the 9/11 Super Bowl, when the Patriots beat the Rams, that was very emotional for a lot of people who grew up in the New York metropolitan region, especially. I had a lot of friends who perished in the South Tower. So that was a very memorable Super Bowl for me personally. Right. And then there were some others. My first Super Bowl with my brother, I went with my brother back in Atlanta when the Bills played Dallas. That was kind of cool to just share that first Super Bowl with my little brother. Right. That was really exciting. Yeah. Jacksonville was exciting, even though the Eagles lost. Yeah. That was the first Super Bowl that I covered with the Eagles. Yeah. So this is my 3rd one with the Eagles. They're favored. Yeah. They're healthy, knock on wood. Right. Their quarterback is on par to do something really great. They got a good coach. They got a great pass rush. They got a great offensive line. Pat, the Eagles should win this game, Pat. The Eagles should win this game. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a close one, but that's the way I feel. I feel the same way, Sal. I appreciate you taking all this time. I know you probably got another 10 hours worth of work to do tonight. So thanks a lot for carving out this time to do this. And if I could drag you in front of this camera one more time, I'd like to wrap it all up next week. All right?
Pat, it's my pleasure. And I'm glad that I could bring you a little of the atmosphere. It's a little rough and a little rough around the edges. I apologize about that, but I think it kind of brings the energy of what's going on.
The improvisation was great.
In the next room, Pat, you know, about 500 members of the media are interviewing all the Eagles. Today is the last availability, so tonight we'll do some stand-ups and. Friday, we'll do more reporting here from the hotel. Saturday, we will tape the matchup show. And then Sunday's your basic Super Bowl Sunday for me. It's an 18-hour day. Starts with stand-ups on SportsCenter, 2-hour difference. So it's a long, beautiful day, culmination of the year. So we're looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks again. Appreciate you carving out the time, Sal. Stay well and have a safe trip back. All right?
All right.
All right. Sal Paolantonio joining me from Phoenix. Come on, man. We've loaded this up for you. And some great insight there from Sal, too, especially that comment about that's a great way to beat Patty Mahomes, boy, is don't give him the ball. When he loses time of possession, he loses. How about that? So we'll see. I'm sure Philadelphia will keep that in mind as they carve out their game plan. All right, listen, we're going to take a break here. And when I get back, I'm going to be joined by my old friend Gary Myers. He'll have his thoughts on the Super Bowl, on Roger Goodell talking about how great the officials are doing. And we'll get Gary's take on this game as it steamrolls towards us here on Sunday. We'll do that next on This Week of Pro Football.
UGI Energy